Hello, everybody. We are virtual. Sorry about that. I am in San Diego I was at Comic-Con with Hannah, and I have seen Oppenheimer. I've seen Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, and I'm here to talk about it because I didn't do an out of the theater review, and I apologize for that. It was just something that Hannah and I were just sitting in our Uber after the movie, just after the movie was over, there was no shooting an out of theater
Just
review.
in a phase, you're like, I need time to process this.
That, and what was hilarious, you couldn't plan this, was our Uber driver was like, oh, there's a lot of people where he picked us up because it was a mall with a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yeah, we just saw Oppenheimer. And turns out our freaking Uber driver went to college for physics. He was asking us all these questions, and I'm like, dude, I can't talk about physics right now. I just but it was so funny.
That's cool. Unfortunately, I have not seen it yet.
And yes,
there are just no show times.
Yeah, and this will not be a spoiler review. But I did want to give my thoughts on the movie since we didn't do an out of theater review. I'll start off with where to even begin. So it is 3 hours long, and does it feel long? It does. With that being said, personally, and I know this isn't the same for everyone who watches the movie, I was engrossed the whole time. I thoroughly enjoyed everything. And to me, the only time I ever complain about runtime is if I think there are aspects of the movie that can be removed and it would have no effect on the story or the character arcs. I don't think there's a scene in the movie that could be removed. Seeing it one time, thinking right now, I can't think of a scene that if you removed it would negatively impact the movie. If anything, this is going to sound crazy. If anything, I think the movie could have been slightly longer in regard to how, because the only jarring thing about the movie for me was it just starts. It's just bam, Oppenheimer's being interrogated, and we're going to jump to Robert Downey Jr. trying to get into the president's cabinet, and it does these two different storylines, but it doesn't establish them. It just boom, starts. And I was like, whoa. So I think the only thing that I think could have benefited was taking a few more minutes to establish both of those storylines. But once the movie is in motion and it goes, you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And then it starts to fall into play that way.
My thing about the runtime, and I haven't seen the movie, and I do agree that a movie can feel long at that time. But whatever, I've spoken to some people, they're just like, it's 3 hours, and I'm like, okay, but did you like Inception and Interstellar and Dark Knight? Because those are all 2:45.
Yeah,
because it's so it's it feels almost like that marketing thing of making something $19.99 instead of just $20.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay.
Yeah, and the example I use whenever someone's like, oh, it's 3 hours long, I'm like, so is Wolf of Wall Street. And every time I watch Wolf of Wall Street, that movie does not feel like it's 3 hours long, at all. Yeah. And this movie, there is an aspect of the movie that I think some people are you're either going to buy it or not buy it. And this is something that I knew going in, so this didn't affect my experience. When they do the Trinity test, there's still an hour left in the movie. I knew that. But there are some people, and I could tell even at my screening, that they thought that that was the movie was going to end right after that, and it doesn't. It keeps going to they do the Trinity test is the second to third act break, and then it gets into the third act. And dude,
are they making the Trinity test a break?
I know, right? It's so crazy, but
just structurally,
but dude, the third act is fucking awesome. There's a twist in the movie that they reveal that's so fucking good, and how it goes back and forth throughout the movie and solving everything. Surprise, Nolan. Surprise, yeah, right. But you'll see what I mean when you watch it. But surprise, Nolan plays with time and timelines. But I was talking with Hannah after the movie, and we both agree that had the movie been told linearly, it would have been boring. And it being told the way it was is what kept the story interesting for us. And yes, the technical aspects of the movie are perfect, but with Chris Nolan, I feel the same way about someone like Wes Anderson, and that it's unfair that I don't give the technical aspects of the movie like fair grounds of like, this is some of the best cinematography, best effects, best, looking sound design movie I've ever seen. But I'm like, it's a Chris Nolan movie, of course it's going to be that. So like, let's talk about the other stuff that could
hold
not
on
happen
now.
in a Nolan movie.
Sound design in a Nolan movie, I think you need to judge that.
Listen, yes, the sound design in the movie is great. There is one scene though. There's one scene, and for anyone watching, it's the scene when Emily Blunt and Cillian Murphy ride horses on a mountain. That was the only scene where I couldn't fucking hear what they were saying. And I knew, you knew it was going to happen once in the movie, but every other time I could hear it perfectly fine. By the way, the score, Ludwig Göransson's score, so good. Such a good score. Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Such a good score. I'm hitting the table. Sorry if that makes noise in the video.
You're good. I want to ask, just kind of early prediction Oscar wise, what do you think we're looking at least for nominations?
It's July, so it's hard to tell, but what I will say is the only time Christopher Nolan's ever been nominated as a director was for Dunkirk.
Which seems wrong.
Yeah. I think this will be his second time, for sure.
Okay.
I would not be shocked if Robert Downey Jr. got a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I would not be shocked if Cillian Murphy got a Best Actor nomination. I would not be all the technical awards it's going to get nominated for, like cinematography and sound and visual effects and all that.
The technical awards basically come down to Dune gets pushed or not.
Yes, exactly. If Dune gets pushed, Oppenheimer is going to run with that, except for production design, because if that doesn't go to Barbie, it's a fucking travesty. But anyway,
yes.
I as of now, I think it could get nominated for a lot of awards. In terms of big awards, I definitely think it'll get Best Picture, and I definitely think it will get Nolan a Best Director nomination. As for wins, I couldn't tell you, but
gotcha.
That for sure.
Yeah, something will always sneak in and just run through the press.
However, the more movies that get pushed, the higher chance that Glenn Howerton gets a Blackberry nomination, and that excites me greatly. But that's a discussion for another time. I'll give you some negatives on the movie. Nolan does have a history of not having the most in-depth female characters. And I've never thought any of his female characters were flat, per se. They just weren't as developed. Like, if you watch Inception, I think Marion Cotillard's character is a very good character, but it's not as in-depth as Leo's character, as everyone else's character. And Elliot Page's character had a lot of depth. I think that was the best character in that movie, in terms of like the best female character in that movie. I think the best female character he's done was in Tenet with Elizabeth Debicki. I thought that was a step in the right direction. But in this movie, what Nolan does to hide the fact that he doesn't have the most in-depth female characters is he casts fucking great actors. And I will say, if it wasn't Emily Blunt and it wasn't Florence Pugh in the movie, who are some of the best actors working today, I don't know if I would have felt anything in those characters. Now, their performances are so good that I do. Emily Blunt has one of the best scenes in the movie. She has one of the best scenes in the movie. But if it wasn't Emily Blunt, I don't know how good the scene is.
Interesting. Yeah, because I have seen that trend with the Nolan movies, and obviously I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it, but I do know they're both fantastic actresses. So is it kind of like, if you take a step back and just look on paper, the lines that they're reading, is it kind of like that, but you just have this caliber of actress delivering it?
Yeah, it feels like that. The movie, I gotta say, it has both, not kidding, both Barbie and Oppenheimer have best movie moments of the year in them. Like, we'll get to Barbie whenever we do our Barbie review, but for Oppenheimer, I won't spoil what it is. There's a sequence where, after they announce that like the atomic bomb has been used, that Oppenheimer goes to give a speech to like people who are there to see him because he's the guy who made the bomb. Dude, that sequence was so haunting and scary. I watched that sequence. I want Christopher Nolan to make a fucking horror movie so badly. From that sequence.
From that scene.
It's such a great sequence. And like the entire third act, like after the Trinity test, the whole third act is like it's incredible, amazing third act. And something that Chris Nolan also can do is he'll have Academy Award level actors show up for a scene. And it's like to the point where it's cool. Like it wasn't distracting. Like I'm watching a thing and like I won't tell you who he plays. Gary Oldman's in this movie. He has one scene and he plays a very important character. And it's just like, that's Gary Oldman, you know, and like
that's Gary Oldman, and then you're gone.
Like the movie opens and like Alden Ehrenreich is talking to Robert Downey Jr. and I'm like, no shit. And it's just like there's so much of that. Like, and it'll be like a 1 or 2 line character, and it's like a major actor playing it, and it's like and the budget's not that high. I mean, it's big, but it's not that high compared to some blockbusters we've seen. So they were like, Nolan, I'll take a pay cut. It's fine. And then they were able to do it. I will say, emotionally, the movie fired on all cylinders for me. It does a great job of not just showing like how horrific creating the atomic bomb is, but also like why they were building it and how they thought they were doing the right thing in a way, and then it was too late when they realized, oh, this was not the right thing, like this is horrible. And it does a great job of showing the conflict within Oppenheimer but not excusing Oppenheimer, if that makes sense. And there's also a political aspect to the movie, because Oppenheimer's past, a lot of people in his past were tied to the Communist Party. And normally when an American movie does Communist Party stuff, the movie takes the stance of like, you know, and regardless of how anyone feels about it, there are characters in the movie that obviously take that stance because it was the 30s and 40s in America. The movie does not take a stance. And I thought that was refreshing to see. Like the movie does not have like a pro or anti stance on that. It's just like presenting as it is.
It's just, this is fact. Do with it what you may.
Yeah, and like that was refreshing, because when it got into the communism part, I was like, and here's where the propaganda kind of takes over of like, you know, and even if I like, if you agree with what like the bad things about it, it's just like, it's like another movie doing this, and they didn't go that route, and which I was really happy with. And dude, the Trinity test is fucking unbelievable, like how they shot it. It's crazy.
I'm excited for that part.
And but yeah, there's a lot of chatter going around saying that this is Christopher Nolan's best film. I don't think that. It's a great film to me as of right now, as of July 23rd when we're recording this. It's my favorite film of the year so far. But
can I say something controversial yet perhaps brave about Nolan movies?
Go on.
Now, I want to disclaim, I do not think that this is Nolan's best movie. However, my favorite Nolan movie, I think, is The Prestige.
That movie's awesome, dude.
Such a great movie. But I feel like when you look at like Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight, I feel like it's gonna be like, the fuck, the Magician movie?
Yeah, no, but like, you know what's surprising? That movie has like a 70 something on Rotten Tomatoes, which is criminally low.
I know.
But yeah, Prestige is great. But I don't think this is Christopher Nolan's best movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I also wouldn't go in the movie thinking this has to be the best Christopher Nolan movie. Because like to me, I've always said like comparison's the thief of joy. It's fun to compare and make lists, which we do all the time. Like that's really fun to do. But in regard to just like having the movie going experience, just go in and watch the movie. And it's a great fucking movie. It's so good. And
I am excited to check it out. Unfortunately, I will not be able to see a 11-mile, 600-pound, 70mm IMAX movie like some people get to do.
Listen, at one point the film fucked up and the movie stopped and everyone started booing. But they solved it in like 2 minutes. Like it was solved pretty quick. But it was funny. And Dude, at the end of the movie, like when the end title card came up, my theater erupted in applause. Like,
oh, that's cool.
And I love when that happens. Also, both Barbie and Oppenheimer have great final lines in their movies. Two completely tonally different lines, but both of them have great final lines. And yeah.
Oh, I'm excited then.
For the people who do want to know, I haven't made my official list yet, but if I were to rank Oppenheimer in Nolan's filmography, I'd probably put it 4th or 3rd, depending on the day. But yeah, I thought Oppenheimer was a fantastic movie. I couldn't recommend it enough. It's my favorite film of the year. As of right now, that could change. We have so much more time. Dude, the Killers of the Flower Moon trailer played. Oh, I can't wait for that. Oh, and they showed a trailer for the new Exorcist movie.
I heard it looked ass.
The first half of the trailer looked quite bad. The second, but like, I'm not gonna lie, I got excited when they brought in like the original mom, like she comes in the trailer, and no one knew what the movie was in my theater. And then when she showed up, you could hear everyone be like, "Oh shit, it's the Exorcist!" And then like that was cool. But yeah, highly recommend Oppenheimer. Please go watch it as soon as possible, and see Barbie. Both are great movies.
Yes, I will. If I see Oppenheimer by the time of next show, I'll just do a quick little my thoughts at the top of the next show. I don't think there's a need for a whole video.
Yes. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.